You've watched someone you love stay in a relationship that was clearly destroying them. You've seen it. You've said something. And they looked you dead in the eye and said, "You don't understand." And the worst part? They were right. Because what keeps people in bad relationships isn't stupidity, it isn't weakness, and it has almost nothing to do with love. I spent months tracking down people who had stayed, some for years, in relationships they knew were hurting them. And what they told me behind closed doors will completely change the way you see every relationship around you, including maybe your own. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone who has it together. Good job. Smart. Self-aware. The kind of person who gives other people relationship advice. And they're telling you that for 4 years. 4 years! They stayed with someone who made them feel worthless almost every single day. You want to ask, why didn't you just leave? But you don't. Because the look on their face tells you that question doesn't have a simple answer. And that's exactly where this story starts. The first person I spoke to had been in a relationship for 3 years with someone who constantly criticized everything she did. Her clothes, her laugh, the way she ate. She said she stayed because on the days he was kind, he was the kindest person she had ever met. She said those good days felt like winning a prize, and she kept playing the game hoping to win again. That's not love, that's a reward system, and her brain had been trained to chase it. The second person, a man in his late 30s, told me something that stopped me completely. He said he knew the relationship was bad within the first 6 months, but he stayed for 5 more years. I asked him why. He said, because leaving felt like admitting I had wasted time. He wasn't staying for her. He was staying to protect the story he had told himself, that it wasn't a mistake, that it would eventually make sense, that the years would mean something. He was gambling with his own life trying to break even. The third person was the quietest of everyone I interviewed. She sat with her hands in her lap and told me that the relationship was the first place she had ever felt chosen. Her words, not mine. Chosen. She grew up in a house where love was conditional, and this relationship, as painful as it was, felt familiar. It felt like home. And sometimes people stay not because the relationship is good, but because the pain inside it is a pain they already know how to survive. The fourth person told me he stayed because he genuinely believed his partner would fall apart without him. She had told him that many times. I have nobody else. I'll have nothing without you. He called it love. He called it loyalty. But sitting across from me 6 years later, 6 years, he said something quietly that I haven't been able to shake. I confused being needed with being loved. Read that again. He confused being needed with being loved. The fifth person was the one that hit the hardest. She didn't stay because of hope. She didn't stay because of history or guilt or fear of being alone. She stayed because she didn't believe she deserved anything better. Not consciously. She wouldn't have said that on day one. But after enough criticism, after enough moments of being made to feel too much, too sensitive, too difficult, she had quietly accepted a version of herself that was less than who she actually was. The relationship hadn't trapped her body, it had trapped her self-image. And here's what every single one of these 5 people had in common. None of them were staying because of the other person. They were staying because of something unresolved inside themselves. A wound, a fear, a belief, a story that the relationship was feeding. The relationship wasn't the prison. The unresolved thing was the prison. The relationship was just the cell they had decorated to feel like home. So the next time you watch someone stay somewhere that hurts them, or the next time you catch yourself staying, don't ask, why don't they just leave? Ask this instead. What does staying protect them from having to face? Because the answer to that question, that's where the real work begins. And if this made you think of someone, or made you think of yourself, like, subscribe, and share this video, because the right person needs to hear this today.